Today, we're going to be talking about the Disney College Program and the disgusting truth hiding beneath its magical walls. This isn't even a widely known program, and the secrets hidden beneath it are even more scarce. But before we get into behind the scenes, we need to talk about what the program actually is. The Disney College Program is a United States national internship program, which recruits college students ages 18 and older of all majors for a semester-long paid work experience at either the Orlando or Anaheim resorts, which lasts between 5 and 7 months. Once a student is approaching the end of their program, they may extend for an additional 5 months with the option to change to a different position or transfer from their current resort, Orlando or Anaheim, to the other. Today, we're going to be discussing what exactly this program entails and focusing on personal experiences from people who have partook in this program and discussing whether or not this is truly the magical experience that is described. The majority of this video is going to be focusing on an anecdote from bird_babe on Reddit, who made a long post explaining their experience with the program. First off, it's a $400 required fee to accept the program, no matter if you live on resort or have your own property, which most programs have fees, but it depends on what exactly the program provides, which is what we're going to dig into in this video. Bird_babe says that rent is automatically taken out of your paycheck weekly, meaning you may only have $50 to $100 to live on after that. A weird aspect that I thought I'd touch on when it comes to the rooming situation is that if you don't link with someone and request a gender-neutral room, they will throw you in with anyone. There was a case in where an 18-year-old girl got put in with an older gentleman, as you can finish college at any age, and as long as you're over 18, you're eligible for the program. To make matters worse, your roommate is not revealed to you until you check in and sign your lease. Even if you request a room with someone, you may still not get with them. This can lead to awkward situations like the 18-year-old woman and the older man. Bird_babe says, for many people who have called Flamingo asking them about roommate issues or their potentially unsafe matches, the response they've been met with is, "We cannot guarantee your safety," which is just such a disturbing statement to be made about something like that, especially when rooming assignments are very important when you consider that this is a 1.5 year long program, and if you're paying to be in a program, they should at least take care of you. Bird_babe's friend, who ended up being their roommate, has celiac disease. When she went to get an accommodation for her program, they connected her with a case advocate who worked to help her get a role that was safe for her. Celiac disease, if you're not aware, makes it so that you have a serious autoimmune reaction to gluten, even if it's just simply inhaling particles of it in the air, and it can put you out for weeks or send you to the hospital, which is even worse. She told them that she needed a role that wasn't food or beverage, as that makes sense. I mean, if you can't be exposed to gluten, you probably don't want to work with food and beverage, as there's plenty of that in most foods. And of course, where did they put her? Food and beverage. After having to aggressively fight against the assignment, they finally relocated her. However, this is all just part of the move-in process, and all of these things happened before the program even started. And by program, I mean work, which I will elaborate in this next segment. After you move into housing, you are required to go to traditions, which is the start of your program. Bird_babe's speaker blatantly told them that, quote, "There will be days where you feel depressed, anxious, and not want to go into work, but you will go into work regardless. And you are always to smile. Why? Because the guest doesn't care. The guest doesn't care what you're going through. In the case of Disney, I will give them the benefit of the doubt that they are supposed to be the happiest place on earth. So if you choose to accept their program or work at their facilities, you should expect to uphold their standards, as they do have a very strict brand image." One interesting part from Bird_babe's registration story was when they required everyone to announce their weight out loud in front of everyone, which I agree can be necessary information, but in public is a little unnecessary, as some people are very sensitive about that subject. However, this is nothing compared to the absolutely brutal and outright diabolical working conditions. Again, the rest of this information comes from the personal experience of user Bird_babe, so let's jump right into it. First off, they tell you that you are to have 24/7 availability. The rule is that they need to give you at least an 8-hour window between shifts, which you might already be thinking, wait a minute, they could schedule you to work till midnight and have you work at 8 the next morning. And that would be correct. That's their only rule. Which, if you math that out in your head, there is no way that you could get a full 8 hours of sleep, as you would still have to travel to and from work, eat, take a shower, and whatever else you need to do. With this rule, they could easily sleep deprive you, because they can schedule you as much as humanly possible, for as long as they want, and as long as they give you 8 hours between then and your next shift, it's okay. It is extremely common for students in this program to be scheduled in upwards of 9 days in a row with no breaks, and shifts up to and oftentimes over 12 hours. 12-hour shifts are already brutal in the normal workforce, but no breaks is on another level of insanity. One of Bird's friends got scheduled 14 days in a row, with almost every day being a 12-hour shift, which, keep in mind, this is all under the blazing Florida sun. One of the days was even a 15-hour shift. One of their other close friends went to their leader to tell them how exhausted they were with the program, how they felt they needed a break, and that their mental health was declining, to which their leader responded, "You came here to work, so get back out there and work." Which is just absolutely absurd, because yes, these students did come here to work, as that is the essence of the program, But what they are required to do in this program isn't even classified as work, in my opinion. There's a difference between an 8-hour shift at Walmart, where you get 2 15-minute breaks and work 5 days a week, and working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and with 8 hours to be at home, do all your tasks and sleep. With 2 15-hour shifts and the common 14-hour shifts that are present during this program, that is 100 hours a week. The typical normal work week is 40 hours. Disney is having people pay them to work 2.5 times the standard work week and leaving them with $50 to $100 a month after all is said and done. This is unacceptable, and their responses to these students is downright disgusting. I understand, it's a work program, but I feel like it needs to be more openly advertised that you will be worked to, quote-unquote, near death. Birdbabe's friend has type 1 diabetes, and when her number got super low one day, she told her leaders she needed an early release because she didn't feel good, to which they told her, the only way we will let you go home is if you are passed out on the ground or need an ambulance. And it makes you wonder if this was just one brutal leader or if they were all required by corporate to act like this. I honestly can't tell, but either way, these are unacceptable working conditions. People go on strike for things way less diabolical than this. Birdbabe does go on to state that not every leader was like this, but sadly, the experience with leaders being like this was all too common to hear about during the Disney College program. It also wasn't uncommon to be force extended. At their location, there was a huge amount of people one night that got force extended, and some of them got put onto shifts up to 17 hours, which in Florida is surprisingly legal, because Florida does not have specific laws mandating minimum shift lengths. So legally, Disney has done nothing wrong. However, it's up to you to decide on the ethics and the morality of these working conditions. Again, this post was made back 3 years ago, so things could have changed in the meantime. But obviously, in the moment, this led to quitting left and right, which surprisingly, you're allowed to do, because I'm genuinely surprised they didn't hide a clause in the contract saying you're bound to work for them until your program ends. Tons of people came to the program thinking it would help their depression and anxiety, because Disney is their happy place, only to have their conditions seriously worsened and have to leave. The vast majority of college program students you will talk to tell you that they hated working at Disney. However, some will tell you that they liked it, but also hated and noticed all the things that have been mentioned so far in this video, as they are present issues. Birdbabe mentioned that they love assisting guests and their coworkers, but that was the only thing holding them on. As a perk of the Disney program, they give out a self-admission pass, stating that one benefit of the program was getting into the parks for free, which in theory sounds great. But if you're working 14-hour shifts every day, it's slightly difficult to make time to enjoy the parks themselves, and unless you want to skip sleeping altogether, in which case makes this a great deal. While the working conditions were awful for Birdbabe, the case advocates didn't make the situation much better. Due to operational needs in the middle of Birdbabe's program, they switched their role. Bird didn't mind it too much, but then they put them in a role that their disability accommodations did not allow for. Going to work each day in food and beverage caused Bird to have allergic reactions every day. After a week of suffering, Bird said that they could not go back into this location, as it's too dangerous and needs the role switched. The leave administration team told Bird that if they brought in a doctor's note saying that they needed a certain amount of days off, that they would honor those days off until the role changed and the points wouldn't go on their record. Bird sent in a doctor's note, and they said the days were approved and that they would tell the leaders and get Bird in contact with a case advocate so they can do a role change. 7 days later, they get a call from their internship coordinator telling them that they gave false information and that every day Bird has been out, points are going on their account, and that if they didn't go to work back soon, they would be fired. After 2 weeks, the role was finally changed. They promised to contact Bird's leaders to get the points removed from their account, because a certain amount of points means you're fired, regardless if it's your fault or not. But it's the Disney College program. Did you really think things would be that simple and fair? Nope. Instead, the case advocate actually ghosted Bird. And Bird's friend had the same case advocate and was also ghosted. 2 months later, and still, no points had been taken off, and they had gotten reprimands for something that wasn't even their fault. Finally, Bird got a new role and said that they actually enjoyed it because of their coworkers. However, Bird decided that the pros of the program definitely did not outweigh the cons, and they decided to self-terminate themselves from the program. Bird claims that by leaving the program, their mental health has gotten exponentially better. Bird also doesn't fully regret the program and sees a few positives, as it taught them to advocate for themselves and realize their self-worth and what they don't need to put up with. Bird's final message is that if something doesn't feel right and you feel like you're being mistreated, you do not need to sit there and let that happen. It's okay to say that this is enough and leave when something is seriously affecting your mental and emotional well-being. So that is Bird's story when it comes to the Disney College program. At the end of the day, depending on the person, I believe you can enjoy the Disney College program. As Bird stated, there were a few positives sprinkled into the overall negative experience. However, I believe that Disney needs to be more clear on what exactly the program entails, because as of now, it is being advertised as a mental health break for those that are struggling mentally in college, and in most cases, it seems to have only worsened the situation for those participating, in which the real scenario is excruciatingly long hours in exchange for spare change to take home at the end of the month. If you love Disney and are good with living on almost non-existent income, and you are struggling being on your normal college campus, this could be a great opportunity for you. But if you're just someone who loves Disney, that just wants the Disney experience for a whole semester, that's not exactly what you're getting, and it might not be worth it for you. Again, take everything in this video with a grain of salt, as this was a few people's experience, and it was 3 years ago, so there is a possibility that things have changed, but if you are seriously interested in the program, I recommend that you do a lot of research going into it, as multiple other accounts I've found on the internet have had the same experience. Personally, after hearing what I've heard about the program, I would never in a million years consider it because it just seems like the one benefit that the program provides is almost unusable, as you have very little free time to actually enjoy the parks, but that's just my opinion. Thank you all so much for watching until the end. Leave a comment down below what you think of all this, and if you've been through the Disney College program or are thinking about it, I want to hear y'all's thoughts about this. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.